Hey guys, it's Captain Harris. Welcome back to the channel and happy Mandrake Project release date.
Yes.
I hope you all got your copies on time, or they're out for delivery, or you're going to the record store to pick them up today. But
Or maybe they came early.
yeah, some people were getting theirs early. We actually happened to be able to listen to the album about a week ago, and we've had it thanks to a friend who got their copy early. So we've actually had some time to digest the album and everything.
Right, so this hasn't just been a one listen
Yeah.
and then we get on camera.
Yeah,
We've had time to digest it.
I've listened to this album at least like 8 or 9 times.
Yeah, we've been
now.
listening to it kind of nonstop for the last week, and then last night I just kind of put the headphones on and had a really hard listen to it all the way through, took some notes, and it's all familiar.
Yeah, we made sure that we had kind of a good grasp on the album before we actually reviewed it. So that's what we're gonna do today. I guess go song by song and what we each think about it. It's a very interesting album, it's as everybody says, it's no Chemical Wedding or Accident of Birth, but I didn't expect it to be.
It's its own thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's its own thing. It's got its own vibe.
Well, I mean, obviously the song we've had a ton of time to digest, and everybody has, is Afterglow of Ragnarok.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it opening the album?
I think it works good. I don't think there's another song on there that I would have had open the album, so I think it works very well. I've got my ranking here of songs. It's never 7 on my list. It's not my favorite song. It's good. It's a hard rocker. It's the heaviest song on the album, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, you think same?
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So it's really good in that aspect. He said music video made you not like it as much.
Yeah, and it goes back to something that I heard a very long time ago when my dad said, I really wished I never watched the Wall movie because it was much more fun when I just imagined it in my head.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way with almost all videos, but this one specifically is like the song is so much better than the video that it's better without the video.
Video is neutral for me. It doesn't affect the song enjoyment for me. And, both videos, with Rain on the Graves and this, it's just, like, that's who Bruce is. He likes the campy, horror kind of stuff. So it's just, like, another, like, part of his creative side being flexed.
I think another reason he did the video was he said in that interview that he wanted to make sure people weren't just thinking it was about Vikings.
Yeah.
So he made the videos to show more what it was about.
Yeah, there's a really good interview on Song Facts that we got some of our comments from. I will link it in the description. It kind of goes over what each song on the album is about. And
from the word of Bruce himself.
Yeah, so I will put that in the description below.
But anyway, as far as Ragnarok goes, it's grown on me. I think it's a really solid song and a great introduction to the album.
Yeah, and I think it'll probably open the set as well.
Yeah,
knowing it's the Mandrake Project tour and its first song, like, I don't know, I think he's gonna come out to that.
Yeah. So great song. We move on to Many Doors to Hell.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of people were saying that this was like one of their top songs, if not their favorite song on the album, and it's actually number 9 for me. And I enjoy everything on the album, so I don't want like lower on the list to make anybody think that I hate these songs, but it just doesn't do much for me. It really doesn't.
For me, it's one of those songs where like it's obviously just kind of a straight rock and roll song.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like something that would have gone on his first 3 albums a little bit, like not so much the later years. And it's not that it's bad in any way. I can't even tell you what I don't like about it. It just doesn't strike me as anything I would go back to.
I have a sort of like parallel to it, and it's like the Stratego of this album for me, where it's not a bad song. It's like, it's probably the quickest heavy rocker on the album. It's probably like our friend Tim said he thought that should have been a single, and I agree that would have worked well as a single too. So I don't know. It just like Stratego is one of my lower favorites on Senjutsu, and it's just like I expect him to play this live, just like I expected them to play Stratego live, and they did.
And I'll say this for most songs, the best part of the song is the bridge for me. It feels like it's about to go somewhere musically with the way Bruce is singing, and then the main riff just comes back in, and it's just like, oh, okay, it's...
Right, like, it's good, but just, like, compared to everything else that we have on the album, it's just, like, everything else is better.
It's extremely unremarkable.
Yeah, like, compared to everything else, like, I can't put it higher than that because I just enjoy everything else so much more.
It's fine, but not as cool as Rain on the Graves.
Yes. So Rain on a Graves. This guy didn't even come in the video that I did to go over that song.
Didn't like it.
He didn't like it at all. So he's just like, "You just do the video. I don't want to like say anything too mean. You know, if I just don't like it, there's no point." So now, feeling a little different.
I've grown up. I've lived a life now, and I understand what he's trying to do. Again, with the video, just stop.
I like that video. It's so like it's just goofy and it's fun.
Well, it's also interesting to see these singles placed in the album, and
Yeah.
I think it works as the third song. I think it's actually a very good song, and to me, it's the biggest, as far as chorus goes, the biggest earworm.
Yeah.
If I hear it, it's stuck in my head all day.
I've had that song stuck in my head like since it came out, like periodically, just like that chorus over and over. It ranks number 8 for me, so that's one above Many Doors to Hell. So it has grown on me a bit. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Still don't love it, but it's still better than it was.
Well, it's just full of Bruceisms.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and he does his classic scream laugh at the end.
Yeah,
like, love that.
Yeah, always love that. That'll always tick it up a couple points.
And where was that in your ranking?
I said 8.
8.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty low.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, there's just so many good songs on this album.
Yeah, it just gets better.
So it's just like some of them have to be, 8, 9, 10.
So yeah, The Devil Goes Down to Georgia.
Yeah.
It's doing just fine.
I like the lyrics of that one a lot too. Like it
is fun.
He's playing with his words there, and that's a big thing for me is the lyrics and how you sing the songs. And I thought it was very creative. So.
Right. Song 4, Resurrection Men,
which is also my number 4. And James and I both have very differing opinions on this.
This is the most friction that we've had on the album with this song. And I initially heard good things about it before I heard it. And I feel like whenever that happens, you just expect it to be great. And to me, it was a bit of a letdown.
Luckily, I only read one friend's review of the album before I heard it, so I didn't have any expectations.
Start with the positives. What do you like about it?
I love the like everybody describes it as spaghetti western, which is like the European
spaghetti.
Well, it's like the European western movies. So this song was written when Bruce was thinking that this was going to be a concept album. What you can hear is the Resurrection Men is Dr. Necropolis and Professor Lazarus, I think, is in his story. That's who they are the Resurrection Men. So that's cool. I kind of am sad that this didn't turn out to be a concept album because I love a good concept album. But yeah, love that intro. I love the Western bit.
I like it too. I like the intro.
I like the chorus. The way he ends the song is really cool. And I like the Black Sabbath bit in the middle.
To me, it's like I like how it starts. And you're like, oh, this is really different.
Yeah.
So we've done Devil Goes Down to Georgia. Now we're going to do a Western song. It's like hitting all the themes. But to me, when he starts singing the verse, it's like, oh, this isn't very much fun. And then it goes into that Black Sabbath part, and the tone completely changes. Like the guitar tones, it's like, all right, we're going for early Sabbath all of a sudden. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then it doesn't get interesting.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the vocals over that. It's just kind of a strange song for me. Like nothing pays off for me with that song.
No, I really like it.
I mean, look, I'm all for weird songs, but I don't know. This one just didn't work for me.
Well, they don't all have to work, so I love it. You don't so much.
Yeah, this is like right at the bottom for me.
Wow. You didn't rank yours, did you?
No, but I know like my favorites and my least favorites.
All right, next.
Fingers in the Wounds.
So, on my first listen, this was one of my favorite songs. It's number 5 for me, so this is just below Resurrection Men. And Bruce said that this is a song about if Jesus came back and was an internet influencer, which I did not expect at all when I was, because I really like the lyrics to this. That's what made the song stick out the most to me on the first listen.
One thing where we differ on the song, and by the way, I love the song. On my last listen last night, and I heard it, I was like, yeah, for sure, this is my favorite song on the album, which I already was thinking. And I just love the way his voice sounds. It's so strong. He does everything he can do with his voice in that song, the highs, the lows, everything. And then there's the little Middle Eastern jig.
So that's where we differ. I don't like that part. I feel like it takes me right out of the song. You don't like the Black Sabbath part in Resurrection Men. I don't like the Middle Eastern part in this one.
I love the Middle Eastern part.
But see, it still ranks pretty high. It's like the midway point on my list, and it's just the rest of the song is that good where that doesn't bother me that much because I enjoy it like so much.
I mean, it's like it's kind of silly with the well, I mean, it doesn't match at all. Like,
no, it doesn't.
I understand where you're coming from. It doesn't match the song.
It just takes me out. Like I'm like just like vibing to his voice, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, we just go to like Egypt.
Especially when we're thinking now that it's about an influencer.
Oh, Jesus came back as an influencer, and I guess Jesus was kind of like from the Middle East.
He was definitely from the Middle East, and what? He's just coming back on a camel. He's got his phone out. He's on TikTok. I mean, it's a weird song, but I love it. It's so good.
No, I love it too. I just that part. If that part was omitted, I'd have no problem with it.
Yeah. To me, it's just like everything I love about Bruce wrapped up in a little package. Oh, one that everyone will be familiar with. Eternity Has Failed.
See, that is my number 3 on my list. So that's pretty high for me. There's like so many differences. Like I'd love to do like a video showing the difference between Maiden's version, the demo, and this version to show like where like the lines went differently for the songs because it's like it's like obviously so familiar but so different. Like I personally really love what he did with the lyrics. And it's hard. Like I prefer the intro of Maiden's and I prefer the lyrics of Bruce's. I prefer the outro of Maiden's. I love the keyboard in Bruce's.
Oh, I prefer the outro of Bruce's.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's like Maiden's goes like with that last acoustic line. Like that is like the perfect way to end that song.
Oh, you mean with the whole spoken word?
Yeah,
thing? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. No, because he only did the one line or the two lines.
Right. I thought you meant like the meat of the song.
No, this song has me like so torn because there's parts of each song that I like better than the others. So it's like,
well, look, it's easier to. It's easy to have a bias with this song because it's so familiar.
Yeah.
Like when we first heard it, we were like eyes wide open, like, "Oh my god, this is the best!" But then we had to think like, "Well, it's because we know the song that it's so good."
Oh yeah, but I genuinely do love the changes. Like, so glad he kept the "lose your mind" bit. I mentioned that in one of my previous videos, so I'm like kind of praying he does this live because that's one of my favorite songs from the Book of Souls. So if I got to see it almost performed again.
To me, it's so strange that the intro bit is the exact same take from the Maiden album.
I know. We were like, this is the same one.
It was just with flutes and little tippy taps instead. For me, when the band comes in, and I've said this to you before, it still sounds like a demo to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it just sounds like there's so many layers of guitars and instruments, and the rhythm guitars are just like chugging all over the place, and there's no real. It's just not cohesive with the beat or anything. Yeah. And then as soon as Bruce starts singing, all of those layers drop out and it's just one guitar track and Bruce, and then it suddenly feels empty.
Yeah. See, I noticed that stuff a little bit less. You're more musically inclined than I am. You've done,
I'm listening to the production.
Yeah, you've done your fair share of like recording music and stuff like that, whereas I haven't. So you're more
just like our outro song.
You're more prone to notice that stuff, whereas I'm just like kind of like, yeah, this is great. So yeah, that's my number 3. It was one of my favorites on Book of Souls, so it ranks up there automatically kind of for me because regardless of its flaws, I still really enjoy it.
I think one of the main differences is that kind of musical solo section. That's the biggest change to me. And when I first heard it with the solos all over, I was like, oh, this is so much fun. It's kind of lost its luster to me now, where I kind of lose the track of the song with all the solos. It's very elaborate and shreddy.
How do you like the keyboards?
I love the keyboard part. The keyboard part sticks out.
I'm really digging how many keyboards and organs and stuff are in this album.
Right.
Really do love it.
I also noticed something with this album is half the songs there's a keyboard. There's just one finger on a keyboard, and it ends with the person just taking the finger off, and it immediately stops. Like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, to me that's kind of a mid-tier song for the album.
I understand why it would be, but like, I love those changes.
Yeah, some of it's great. Some of it I could do without. Oh well. The Mistress of Mercy. Steph?
This is my number 6, so this is right under Fingers in the Wounds. I think this is a really fun song. It's obviously very reminiscent of Freak. It's got the same sort of guitar riff in the intro, so it feels like Freak had a baby with Skunkworks to me.
So a freak had a baby with a skunk. Got
Yeah.
it. This is kind of at the bottom for me, like 9 or 10. I don't know why, it's just forgettable to me. I'm not a huge fan of like the layered vocals on this one.
I really like that.
Okay, we differ again. They just clash a little bit for me.
So, what do you prefer? Do you think that Mistress of Mercy is better than Many Doors to Hell, or vice versa?
I don't know.
Because you sort of had the same thing to say about both of them. Like
No,
you
I
said they were
agree.
both kind of forgettable for you.
They're both my 9 and 10, and I don't know,
Yeah.
which is which.
Whoa. They're not your 9 and 10. They'd be your 8 and 9.
Why?
You have one that's... you told me your least favorite song.
Oh, Resurrection Man?
No! We haven't gotten to it yet.
Hang on, let me look to the future. Oh, yeah. She's totally right. She remembers my thoughts before I do.
So it's your 8 and 9, but which one do you think is better, in your opinion?
I think Mistress is probably better.
Good. I was glad you said that.
Yeah, like...
I like the layered vocals because
It's
I like the
fine.
Skunkworks sound. I know not a whole lot of people are a big fan of that album, but it's very reminiscent of Back from the Edge.
Yeah, I didn't love the like the vocal melody choices on that song, but it's a very straightforward song, and it's one of the only like more uplifting sounding songs. Yeah, I don't like that.
No? Oh, I love that.
I don't like that. I don't know why.
You can see we haven't talked about every song.
Should we move on?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about that. It's it's number 6 for me, so it's
Yeah.
not my favorite, but not the worst.
All right, let's move on. Face in the Mirror.
My least favorite, his least
Same.
favorite. That's why I was like, I know that ain't your 10 because that you're 9 and 10 because I know Face in the Mirror is an 8 or above.
See, that's how much I forget about it. Is I forgot it was
Yeah.
even there. It's the only acoustic song
Yeah.
on the album, and I don't know what it is. It's very short,
Yes.
and all I remember after hearing it was that he said "face in the mirror" a lot of times.
Yeah. So it's not a bad song, but it's not something that I can ever see myself being like, yeah, I'm gonna go listen to Face in the Mirror.
No.
It's just, you're not just gonna love every song on an album. It's
No.
just one of those,
And then to me, like, there's not even that much singing on it. It's almost like he's just talking.
I
You know
guess.
what I mean? For some reason, I wrote down that it reminds me of Empire of the Clouds with just the piano sound. It just
Yeah.
sounded like Bruce was like doing the one finger on the piano with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's to me this one's on the bottom.
Yeah. Don't have a lot to say about that. It's a song. It's not a bad song, but it's not near the best of this album. So it'll probably get some skips from me in the future, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Well, I think we're about to get to the pièce de résistance. Shadows of the Gods.
It's actually Shadow of the Gods.
Shadow of the Gods.
I know our file got sent as Shadows of the Gods, but I had to check, and it's just Shadow. But yeah, this is my number 1 song on the album, and it was for my first listen, and it has now. Like, this list has changed. I used to have a different lineup about a week ago of what my favorite songs were. Everything's changed except for Face in the Mirror and Shadow of the Gods, I think.
Yeah.
That's been my first and last through and through. But first listen, I knew that was going to be my favorite.
Which is different to me because when I first heard it, it was kind of a skip
Yeah.
for me. And it's kind of stayed that way until last night when I just listened to it without any distractions, and it absolutely blew my face off.
Yeah, so this one's very interesting. This was actually written for the Three Tremors with Halford, Bruce, and Dio back when they were planning to do that, but unfortunately Dio had passed away. And this song's been around since 2005 or 2006, from what Bruce said. He didn't remember which year, but this song's been around for like 20 years.
Right.
Does that not like make you guys mad sometimes when you find out how old a fantastic song is? Like, man, I could have been enjoying this for...
And it makes you wonder, like, how many songs does Bruce and Maiden have that were just
Yeah.
never released.
So in that interview as well, he mentioned that Tyranny of Souls was also written for the Three Tremors. So James, when he first heard that song, you said you thought they performed it before we even knew. So yeah, there was the video of Jeff Tate, Rob Halford, and Bruce singing the one you love to hate.
Right, from the Halford
And
album.
you thought that was.
I thought that it was that song, and that's so strange because it doesn't sound anything
No,
like that
we went
song.
back and listened to it. It's like, I don't
But
even know what you were thinking.
There was just something in Roy Z's songs at the time that just triggered in me and was like, this sounds like that.
Yeah.
And turns out it was for that. But to me, like, Bruce really opens up the taps on his voice with this song, and it's just incredible. Like,
that final line of the song is just, oh.
it's just epic, and
Yeah.
it builds so well in the first half, and all the ideas feel really inspired.
Yeah.
And halfway through, we get some nice like driving metal that is very simple, but the vocals are definitely the driving force of the song.
I love when the heavy bit kicks in.
It's
So
just
good.
Necromancer. Oh, so good.
I would love if he played it live, but I'm not expecting it. He already said that he's not playing this last song live, so that's a little sad.
Did he? Oh.
Yeah, he said that that's not going to get played, but Shadow of the Gods, crossing my fingers.
I know that I had said that Finger in the Wounds was my favorite previously to yesterday, but now my favorite song is Sonata.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
I don't know if it was because it got set up by Shadow of the Gods,
Yeah.
and suddenly I'm super invested in this style, and it almost seems like a continuation of that
Yeah.
song, where it's super ambient and interesting.
It's got that almost Pink Floyd intro going on for it.
And I said, because I wrote my notes before I read the interview, and I wrote down it sounds like the first half to me, while it's very melodic and everything, it has this undertone of like eeriness and uneasiness that I would say is like, I don't know, Welcome to the Machine from which you would hear. And then the outro guitar stuff sounds like Division Bell.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so Bruce said that this is actually the oldest song on the album, probably 25 years old, quoting him there, which is crazy to think about. And
So it could technically have been written like just around when he got back with Maiden.
yeah, so he said that they've had the music bit for ages, and he just like got in the studio, and he said about 80% of the lyrics are just what came out as he went in there with, like, he didn't even know he was gonna sing.
Right, 80% just going
Improvised.
in there and improvise it with no lyric sheet
Yeah.
or anything, and it still comes out as a product is unbelievable.
Yeah, so that and Shadow of the Gods, like, even if the rest of the album was crap, those two would,
worth it.
yeah, those two would make this album worth it. But thankfully, the album's very enjoyable. But just saying, like, those two alone sell this album for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me with this song, even though it's slower paced through most of it, I'm on the edge of my seat
Yeah.
for the whole thing, just waiting for the next line.
Well, that's what's weird is, like, with previous albums, all my favorite songs are, like, the heavy hitters. Like, my favorite Bruce song is Book of Thel. Obviously, that's a heavy rocker. You know, I love Freak and Dark Side of Aquarius. I guess can be a bit of a slower song. But on this album, I found myself much more drawn to, like, the slower, you know, more vocal-based songs. You know,
Yeah.
Fingers in the Wounds and Sonata, and even Shadow of the Gods has its heavier bit, but the intro for that and the outro, you know, they're slower. And I don't know. I really have enjoyed it on this album.
Yeah,
This album.
and clearly he, like, the fact that he mentioned he's improvising through
Yeah.
most of this, it comes across because I wrote in my notes at the time, it sounds like Bruce is just riffing on some of this and hits so well in some places where it's like, this couldn't have happened if it was planned.
Yeah, like the For Love Has Brought You Here and Love Will
Tear you apart.
Yeah, tear you apart. I love
It's
that.
just so good. It's like,
so full of emotion too.
and I think when we first heard it together as well, we were both saying, like, there's something so oddly familiar
Yeah.
about every part of this song. Like, I don't know if it's an amalgamation of all the bands he likes
Yeah.
or what it is, but it all feels like something I've heard before. I even said it kind of sounds like In the Tone of a Cold Dark Place from Mastodon,
Yeah.
if you know them. But it's just, it's a very emotional song.
Yeah.
I don't know if he even meant it to be that way because, I mean, what he said about what it's about is it's a twisted version of Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
which I don't even know if he knows what that means. But what came out, and it's just beautiful.
It's great.
It's fantastic. So it's my number one on the album, and I'm surprised that I'm not, just sticking with the heavy bangers. Like, for me, those last two songs, which are slower for most of it, they're the two best songs for me.
Yeah. No, I can't believe that, the slower ones are my favorite, because I've always, I guess my second favorite song on Chemical Wedding is The Alchemist. I guess you could kind of compare that to the slower songs on this, but no. I was very surprised with what came out as my favorite.
Well, it's like he said, again, in the interview, he mentioned that he was playing a playback of Sonata in the house, and he said his wife came in and was like, "What is that? I've never heard your voice.
It's like the best thing you've ever done."
And I see exactly what she means. I've never really heard his voice do that kind of thing before, and it's just, it's amazing. I love it. I'm so glad he did an album.
Yeah.
Even if we just got those two last songs.
Well, that's like what I said, and it's funny because he was saying that he didn't want to get his hopes up for this album.
No.
Because it's been a long time.
And I wasn't too jazzed about the singles. So I just thought it was going to be more of that. And some of it was more of that.
And thank God it is this good, because it's like, that just makes me even more excited to go see him in April. I think Many Doors to Hell is going to get played, which is like, it's not bad. I expect that to get played, but it's just like, I really want Shadow of the Gods. But it's like, also, is that going to be too difficult for him to do, because it's like supposed to be parts for 3 different singers?
Bruce, if you're watching this,
he's not. I promise.
Shadow of the Gods, she's doubting if you might be able to do it. I think you can, and you should do it.
It's not that I'm doubting that he can do it. It's just like the willingness to do, like, because he mentioned it's like we had to make do with one voice doing the 3 vocal parts, and I just didn't know if that would be too annoying to do live.
So, as we've gone song by song, so the album as a whole, it's strange because the original idea was 10 years ago, let's do a concept album, and then the rest of it was kind of finished up and put together the last couple of years. So what songs on the album are that first iteration of the album? Like, which ones connect with, the Mandrake project?
I'm pretty sure it's Eternity Has Failed, Resurrection Men, and Afterglow of Ragnarok. And I think that's it.
Okay.
Because, like I said, he mentioned in that interview that Resurrection Men was about Dr. Necropolis and Professor Lazarus. Obviously, Eternity Had Failed, Just a Matter of Time for My Partner in Crime. It's him singing about them.
Right. So we basically have 3 songs that are part of that.
Yeah, I believe so.
Album.
I think Afterglow is as well, because with the music video, it was all about, the first part of the Mandrake Project comic.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a very different thing for us to digest, because some of this album is a decade old. Some of it was recorded in the last couple of years, and you can hear some of the differences song by song. Like, this was used 10 years ago in Pro Tools, and and then the other stuff was done last year. But his voice holds up, man. Like, he can still sing just like he did 10 years ago.
Now, if I was to rank this album, Chemical Wedding being my favorite album, as a 10 out of 10, I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10, personally.
Okay. I mean, I would say that it's my third favorite after Chemical Wedding and then Accident of Birth.
I don't know what my ranking is below Chemical Wedding, to be honest. I really need to sit down and think about that if I was to state what my top, ranking the albums. But I know Chemical Wedding's my favorite, and that would be like a 10 out of 10. But yeah, it's like a 8 out of 10 for me.
Perfect. So yeah, I really enjoy the album now.
Glad that it's good.
It's grown on me. And for those that don't know, we did get tickets to see Bruce in Santa Ana in April. So we're gonna go check it out.
So yeah, we probably expect some more Bruce content coming up. We might do a set list speculation. I don't know.
I think we should.
I've got some interesting ideas that I'm gonna be filming sometime before then. I've been procrastinating, but I hope you'll like it when it comes out. And I'm supposed to be getting my copy of the album a day early tomorrow on the 29th, so look out. I might do a reel of unboxing that. I don't think it's worth doing a whole video, because I didn't get a big box full of stuff. I just got the special edition CD with a signature and everything. So I might put up a little short of that, so look out for that.
Yeah, so yeah, great album. I'm excited to see it live.
Yes.
We may even get to see some Tyranny of Souls stuff played for the first time as well. So there's
Love
a lot of new stuff is gonna happen.
Yeah, so stick around. We'll obviously be vlogging that and bring you guys along for the ride because I am just buzzing about that.
Yep.
I can't believe that's I can't believe that's happening. I was like, we're just gonna have to see it next year. Oh well, now we're fucking seeing it in 2 months. So yay.
Yeah, and we didn't know if we were gonna get tickets or anything. Luckily, it worked out. So
yeah, so let you guys let us know down in the description how you like the album and what your favorite and least favorite songs are and why, because I love reading your comments and seeing what everybody thinks, because you can see we both have very different opinions on several songs on here, and I just like to see everybody's interpretation, you know?
So with some of the differentials that we have, who do you agree with?
Yeah.
Who was right?
Are you Team Cat or Team Brian?
Oh man, Team Brian all the way.
So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. We're
Okay.
Hey! Come here. Come here. Psst. Come here. You can sit on my lap if you want. I knew you'd do that.